Loot boxes are not gambling, at least according to regulators in the UK and the US. Well, that idea might be about to change in at least one country in the EU. Belgium's Gaming Commission has actually launched an investigation into the loot boxes of two of the biggest AAA games around.
The ESRB ratings board in the US said back in October that loot boxes in video games are not a form of gambling. Loot boxes are something that you spend real money on and offer a random reward of varying quality. But still, they give you something at least, and that something isn't cash, which is important. So they're not gambling. The UKie and PEGI ratings board agreed with that assessment shortly afterwards, and then so did the UK government more or less. Although Westminster did promise to continue to monitor developments in the market. Developments like this one maybe. You see, the Belgian Gaming Commission is now investigating whether or not the loot boxes and microtransactions in both Overwatch and Star Wars Battlefront 2 can be considered gambling. This means that both these video games with loot boxes, which were dismissed by the ESRB, PEGI and UKie as not gambling, could actually be classified as gambling.
Peter Nysens, director of the Belgian Gambling Commission, said via the powers of Google Translate, quote, "It is dependent on chance how well you can play the game, and in that case it falls under the gambling." So Google Translate at its best there.
Yeah, it's probably pretty much what he said, but we thought we'd just put that in there anyway.
PC Gamer reckons such a decision could cost EA and Blizzard hundreds of thousands of euros in fines, and both Overwatch and Battlefront could potentially even be removed from sale. Beyond that, it would pressure regulators in other countries to take a second look. Hearing this news is already making it hard to not get carried away. Thought that line was going somewhere else there. Already making me hard, but no.
Jesus Christ.
I was like, Mike wouldn't write that, would he?
It's making it hard
That's
to
what I
not
would
get carried away.
I would have probably written that. The thought of loot boxes flooding our AAA games as they are, suddenly being removed, repealed and banished from games in future is very fucking exciting.
But EA look like they're ready to fight this. They've already responded to the Belgian Gambling Authority's announcement saying, quote, "The crate mechanics of Star Wars Battlefront 2 are not gambling. A player's ability to succeed in the game is not dependent on purchasing crates. Players can also earn crates through playing the game and not spending any money at all. Once obtained, players are always guaranteed to receive content that can be used in-game." And that last line is kind of crucial to their argument. You do always get something. Blizzard are still yet to comment on this at all, but it's clear EA is not ready to accept which way the wind is starting to blow with this one.
They say we always get something when we're buying something from a loot box, right? But as we said before, you could walk into a casino and so long as they offered you like a packet of crisps or a Mars bar or something, a reward that's a fraction of the price to gamble, then that way it's not gambling. You set up your own casino and just give everyone Mars bars when they lose, and then it's not gambling. You don't need a gambling license, anything like that. That's essentially what they're saying, but we all know it's bullshit because you might really want this special star card or this like special suit or something like that or whatever, there's some sort of skin, but you can't just buy it. You can't just outright buy it, microtransaction, and buy what you want. You have to buy a loot box, right? A chance to win the item that you want, and this is where it's gambling. In order to get what you want, you have to keep paying and paying and paying and paying. Gambling in order to get the thing that you want. Regardless of all the shit that you're left with, that is not what you want. Essentially, it's useless. It might as well be worth all, because what you want, you still haven't got. So instead of paying £1, let's say for example, for the card that you want, the skin that you want, you might end up paying £10, £15. It could be £30. It could be, who knows? And that's what they're exploiting here. And that's the reason why this is gambling. This is the reason they put it in, because you might end up paying £50 if you want something bad enough, £100. The more the better for them as far as they're concerned. It's gambling. Wake up.
The other thing as well is the fact that you don't actually get any money out of this, so they say there's no monetary value to the things that you actually win, and I kind of don't like the premise of that, because technically they are absolutely right. It seems like it makes sense when you first hear that. These aren't like monetary prizes that can like change your life or whatever. You know, you're not getting huge cash sums here, you're just getting in-game stuff. But that ignores the fact that that in-game stuff has value to people. Just because it's not monetary value, it doesn't mean it doesn't have value, because they seem to suggest that cash, like money, is the absolute only thing that has any kind of value in the world. But if something makes you spend, then it has value. People are willing to go all out to get that thing, which means it is a valuable thing, and you could still end up not getting it after spending hundreds of pounds, which does mean for me that it is gambling.
So the wind is really starting to blow strongly against EA, with even Wall Street investors starting to get nervous amid all the outrage. Between the widespread anger, the most downvoted comment in Reddit history, the rapid and repeated U-turns and walkbacks from EA, and now an investigation by the Belgian Gambling Commission, Wall Street is worrying about Battlefront 2's financial success. Wall Street analyst Justin Post said, "We see recent controversies as a potential risk." Another analyst, Michael Olsen, noted, quote, "Early reviews have been impacted by negative sentiment around the character progression system that publications and consumers believe overemphasize microtransactions. We believe review scores for a game like Star Wars Battlefront are less important, given the strength of the Star Wars brand, but recognise the negative sentiment is a challenge."
It's not just gamers going, "Ah!" This is Wall Street analysts saying that investors are getting nervous. This is the Belgian Gambling Commission going, "Hang on a minute, this is not right, we need to take a look at this." The tide is kind of turning against EA here, but they are still pretty adamant in their response that it's not gambling and they're okay, and they're pretty confident in saying that. I guess they would, because they've just put it in the game, which isn't even out yet. That's a crucial thing to remember. All this has happened before anyone has really bought Star Wars Battlefront 2. I mean, the only people playing it at the moment, at the time of recording, are like people who've pre-ordered the deluxe version, which, you know, they had early access, and people who played the Origin Access trial, gave them 10 hours of game time before the game came out. They are in a mess. The headlines are bad. GameSpot just did a headline saying that Battlefront 2 is an EA disaster. That was the GameSpot headline. I mean, it is a bad state for EA for sure at the moment.
The reason why Belgian Gambling Commission are looking into this is because they feel like kids might feel pressured from their peer groups or whoever else playing to buy these microtransactions, and might feel like they need to buy and purchase loot boxes and things like that when they're playing this game. It's the kids they want to protect, and that's what we've said all along, that these types of gambling mechanics in games are not good. I mean, as much as you say, oh, you know, you have to pay it, there's an age rating on this game, kids play these games and they do feel these pressures, and they learn like about gambling, and people come out and say that they've spent thousands of pounds on loot boxes and games because they're addicted to this gambling feedback that they get, paying for something and getting a reward for it, and they're addicted to that feedback. But this is exactly what we wanted from the UK government, which they completely failed us on. We wanted them to look into it, we wanted them to investigate, and this is exactly what Belgium are doing. Fair play to them. And also, you know, they're generating these headlines. Other countries might take note, and like it might get the ball rolling. Other people might think, oh, hang on a minute, if they're looking into it, maybe we should do our f***ing jobs and look into it too. That's exactly what we want.
We talked an awful lot about EA and Star Wars and Battlefront, but obviously Blizzard and Overwatch are part of this as well. They're looking at Overwatch, which is an interesting choice. I don't know why they've gone for just Overwatch and Battlefront when you've got like more recent ones like Shadow of War and things like that are probably a lot more problematic. Maybe just because of sheer popularity, but it might be tied into that kind of kids thing. I'm not saying Overwatch is for kids. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm about to say is that it is kind of a bright and colourful game, and you would understand as someone who you know, doesn't play games or whatever, that youngsters might be able to play Overwatch, and because it is that popular, that it probably is reaching a lot more younger players than, you know, something like Shadow of War. If I would have any game investigated, it would be Battlefront. I'm glad that's being looked at, but Shadow of War needs to be looked at as well. That is a mess of a game, and the model in that is just as bad as Star Wars Battlefront in my opinion.
Shout out to Mike Morhaime, right? Not part of the controversy. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And in doing so, produced the controversy and put himself in the spotlight.
That's probably what it was. It's probably what it was. It's probably him going, we're fine. Belgium going, you are not fine, mate. We're taking a look.
You smug bastard.
Yeah, I'm going to take you down, Mike.
So that's it. Loot boxes are aren't maybe are they gambling or not? Let us know down in the comments below. Like the video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new around here. Check out another video right about there on the screen. Support us on Patreon if you're awesome. We'll see you again next time. Bye for now.